This time, I would like to begin by talking about Uber Eats. You may already be familiar with this, but let me explain. During the year-end and New Year holidays, there were several cases where orders placed through Uber Eats were significantly delayed or even cancelled. This led to widespread discussions online, with many speculating that the reduction in delivery drivers' compensation caused a drop in the number of workers, leading to insufficient manpower to handle the high volume of orders. According to the article, Uber Eats claims that it did not reduce the pay for its delivery drivers. Instead, they argue that the significant increase in orders during the holiday season overwhelmed the system, even though the number of delivery drivers remained unchanged. However, many online comments claim that the pay has indeed been reduced. As for whether this is true or not, Uber Eats has stated that they cannot provide a definitive answer without investigating individual cases, which means they have not outright denied the possibility of reduced compensation in some instances. From my neutral standpoint, I cannot determine whether the pay has actually decreased or remained the same. However, delivery drivers themselves would know if their pay has decreased despite delivering the same items over similar distances. If a driver realized they were earning less for the same work, it wouldn't be surprising if they decided not to take on the task during the cold winter months. In my opinion, during the year-end and New Year holidays, a time when people generally prefer to stay warm and relax at home, delivery services should offer higher pay to incentivize drivers. If the pay remains the same or, as some online claims suggest, has decreased, then it's only natural that fewer people would be willing to work. This leads to the question of whether the issue is truly a labor shortage or if low pay is the actual problem. Personally, I think this is not a case of an absolute shortage of workers, but rather a problem of insufficient pay. If there were genuinely not enough workers, even raising wages wouldn't solve the issue. However, since the workforce has not significantly decreased, offering higher pay would likely attract more drivers. In other words, this is not a manpower shortage but a problem stemming from wages being too low. Expanding on this idea, Japan as a whole often cites labor shortages as a reason to bring in more foreign workers. But is the shortage real, or is it simply that wages are too low to attract local workers? If we look at the job-to-applicant ratios by industry, it becomes clear that sectors like construction, civil engineering, and surveying face severe labor shortages. On the other hand, in fields like general clerical work, there's actually a surplus of workers. If wages in high-demand industries were increased, it might encourage workers from other sectors to transition into those roles. For workers, a labor shortage represents an opportunity to demand higher pay. If wages increase, more people might consider transitioning to higher-paying sectors, even if it requires additional training or acquiring new qualifications. However, instead of using this opportunity to improve wages, Japan seems to rely on bringing in foreign workers to keep wages low. For example, the caregiving sector is often cited as experiencing a labor shortage, but the low wages and high stress of the job discourage people from entering the field. Without significant improvements in pay, it's no surprise that people are unwilling to take on such demanding work. This approach, bringing in foreign workers instead of raising wages, has already caused societal problems in parts of Europe. The influx of foreign populations has led to cultural shifts, political tensions, and, in some cases, significant public unrest. Japan risks facing similar issues if it continues down this path. Foreign populations tend to concentrate in specific areas, leading to significant demographic changes in those regions. For example, in Nagoya, while Vietnamese and Chinese residents are prominent, certain areas also have a high concentration of Brazilians. This kind of regional demographic shift can reshape local economies and societies. If Japan continues to rely on foreign labor without addressing the underlying wage issues, there is a risk that Japanese workers' incomes will remain stagnant, while foreign workers dominate sectors that offer better pay. In extreme cases, foreign communities could gain enough influence to impact local politics, further reshaping Japanese society. In conclusion, instead of viewing labor shortages as a justification to bring in foreign workers, Japan should focus on improving wages and working conditions to attract domestic talent. This would not only ensure that Japanese workers benefit from economic growth but also prevent potential social and political tensions in the future.